The national chairman of the All Progressive Congress, Adams Oshiomhole, accompanied by the national vice chairman, North Central, Suleiman Ahmed, and the national police secretary of the party, Malam Larry Saunili, on Thursday, visited President Buhari at the State House in Abuja. The visit, according to Oshiomhole, was to congratulate the president on the 2019 accomplishment and also commend him for the renewed hope has captured in the New Year message that was delivered to Nigerians.
Decided that we, at the level of the National Working Committee, to pay a New Year visit to Mr. President and to congratulate him for all that we were able to accomplish last year, and also to commend Mr. President for the renewed hope as captured in the New Year message that was delivered to Nigerians. And I think it was also particularly important that it was published in print media, so that it's not that the usual, New Year broadcast. If you miss it, you miss it. Now this one, you can take it, you can analyze it, evaluate it, and see how it affects you, or how it affects your community, or how it affects your location or your business. We think that was quite significant. But like you know, in Nigeria, when good things happen, they don't command big headline news. For example, for the first time, or consistently under this president, people are now used to going for Christmas without having to worry whether or not there is petroleum products in the market. A few years back, people were always afraid of what will happen during the Christmas season. All your savings, all the small money you are taking home to celebrate with your people, you end up patronizing black market to buy a gallon of, a liter of PMS at 2, 3, 4 times the value, and sometimes it is adulterated. And we see pictures of people who are stranded across the country because they cannot access PMS. Again, these are things we are now able to, with pride, take for granted. And I also think that we ought to celebrate the fact that we are able to celebrate Christmas and New Year, and people have rice everywhere that were not imported from other countries. Nigerian-made rice. I bought some quantities of rice to share in line with the tradition, and all these were Nigerian-made rice. They taste better, they are not expired, they are more nutritious. And for me, this is how a nation grows and eventually becomes self-sufficient. Now, if we can sustain this policy for another 1 year or 2 years, and Nigerians get used to eating Nigerian-made rice, and our farmers have ready market for rice, obviously, that aspect of food security will be put behind us. And we thought it was something that we should commend the president for what he has done and the courage to put Nigeria first before any other settlement. So we can say that we can see a gradual revolution taking place in the agricultural sector. We also thought that, given the reaction of some of opposition, to reassure Mr. President that there was nothing wrong, and we are indeed happy with the New Year message to Nigerians, because the responsibility of every leadership is to inspire hope. Life is sustained and driven by hope. And the challenge of leadership is not to join the people to lament that things are terrible, to give up, and join the people in wallowing in self-pity. The responsibility of leadership is to inspire people, give them hope, and in this case, in line with the principle of accountability and democracy. Democracy is not just about voting and everybody goes to sleep. It's about the leadership explaining periodically what he is doing, what he's going to do differently, and what he hopes to accomplish within a given time. And I think that is what the President New Year message sought to do. And I'm surprised that there are people who wonder, why should the president reassure Nigerians that he's not going to do third term? because third term was planted by PDP, it is still in the subconsciousness of most Nigerians that the first Nigeria president tried to do third term, emptied the treasury to bribe members of the National Assembly, and since that president left, thanks to the National Assembly, no any other president has done 8 years in office. You will recall that President Yaradua, unfortunately, has since joined his ancestors. And President Jonathan did 6 years. So by the special grace of God, this will be the first president who, we pray, will do the 8 years complete in line with the provisions of the Constitution. And because there's a level of idleness within a section of the political class, people can sponsor all kinds of publications as to give doubt whether or not president is planning to stay longer. And I think his decision that at every point he needs to remind Nigerians he is not about to do what a PDP president did. For me, it is necessary. In any case, it costs us nothing other than reassurance, I'm leaving. But then he went on to say, between the last electoral act and all the elections that have been conducted, a couple of lessons have been learned. Listening and evaluating judicial pronouncement on election petition tribunals, there are clear lessons to be learned. And the president has said, even as I'm not going to contest again, I owe this country obligation to clean up the electoral process based on observed gaps and weaknesses here and there, so that I'll be leaving behind a legacy of free, fair, and credible elections. That anybody will find fault with that, again, it can only happen by people who have not overcome the fact of their defeat, after 60 years of misrule. So we came essentially to assure the president that most well-meaning Nigerians are with him. They appreciate the hope, and the challenge now is to work hard to ensure that all of those promises that he has made, he will deliver in 2020, that we keep our word, because our word must be our bond with the people of Nigeria. And as a party, we are conscious of the fact that it is the performance of this president and of this government that will be the basis for approaching the electorate in 2023. And so we are clear that all our creative energy, whatever opinion, advice, observation that we have, all members of APC, rank and file and leadership level, must find time to reflect and contribute ideas on how to ensure that by this time, 2021, we'll be able to look back and say, President said, I will deliver on X, Y, Z. At the end of the day, he did. And then we have a message for 2021. I think this is how nation grows. There's always a time lag between when decisions are taken and when they mature. And the responsibility of leadership is to be able to carry the people along as you commence the process of rebuilding the country and in our shared commitment to take Nigeria to the next level. This is the summary of our visit to Mr. President.
Speaking on the pressure to resign aided by some members of the party due to the feud between Obaseki, the APC chieftain noted it's only a good tree that attracts stone, adding he has done excellently for the party.
The president has a lot of humor. We discuss it, and just like we also said, and I think the media is part of it, good news don't command headlines. I have never seen a headline that says there was no fuel scarcity anywhere in Nigeria this season. And then they bring back pictures of Jonathan era, of Obasanjo era, where people were crying middle of the road, they are stranded, there is no fuel, or they bought adulterated fuel and their car knocked. And I see TV cameras interviewing people, how do you feel? And you see little children who have been sleeping on the road. You don't get those. Why? Because good news are not supposed to be marketed, unfortunately. But we have a duty as government to market good news. People already will want to amplify the bad news. But when there's good news, we should do so. Number two, there are a lot of parts of the country that people could not drive during this last rainy season. And thanks to the federal government and the Honorable Minister of Works, I mean, let me speak, for example, the road between Benin and Auchi, my own local government. Just 3 months back, 4 months back, it can take you 5-6 good hours from Benin to Auchi, such that when I get to Benin, I'd rather fly back to Abuja, rather go and see my old mother in the village. But this last week, I drove from Benin to Auchi, and it took me only 2 hours. But you know, you are not going to find camera people showing that. You know, this past few weeks of dry season, a lot has been done to improve part of the road network in Nigeria. So every leader needs to be encouraged. Why the opposition will amplify what is wrong and even distort facts that are right? We as a party have a duty to amplify what we have done differently. So I think it was a nice visit. I believe the president was happy. We are also very excited.
Going forward in 2020, Oshiomhole said things have been ironed out to ensure they take into account all the mistakes made in 2019 so that in 2020, the All Progressive Congress will be more stronger, more coherent, and more peaceful.
Well, you know, I always say that, and I'm sure you also know this proverb, that it's a tree that bears fruit that attracts stone. You hardly can see people throwing stone at a dry palm tree. But if you see a mango tree, when it is in season, just watch. People pass it, they will throw stone at it. So I think that is my lot, you know. But my report card is also very, very clear. And I think you, my comrades, you help to also interrogate the process. How is the performance of a national working committee? How should it be evaluated of a political party? I think, to start with, the evaluation must certainly include how many elections did you win or lost. Last week or 2 weeks ago, we saw the British Labour Party leader saying he accepts responsibility for the crushing defeat that the Labour Party suffered under his leadership, and offered, in principle, having accepted responsibility, that he will not lead the party to the next election. So he's going to resign, because under his leadership, the party was rejected by the British electorate. In my own case, and I challenge anyone to say that any of these are not true. In my own case, we, 3 of us here, along with all the members of the working committee, we were sworn in on the 24th of June at about 6 p.m., 2018. 2 weeks later, we went to Osun to contest election against a PDP incumbent, Fayose, in Ekiti State. And we won. And Kayode Fayemi is today the governor of that state. A few months later, we went to Osun State. We contested election. We won a by-election. And we have Osun governor elected during his first term. Then we went to the national elections. You know all the tension in the country at the time. You know all the hostilities. And again, before that we went to Ondo. We also won the Ondo by-election, but that was not done under my leadership. That was the previous one. I'm limiting myself to those two. And then the national elections. The gap between President Buhari and former candidate Abubakar Atiku, was about 4 million voters. The one between President Buhari and Jonathan in 2015 was about 3 million. So under this leadership, this president had more votes than the first runner-up. We like to claim credit for that. Because if it went the other way, so we'll be crucified. The National Assembly, you know, we had all kinds of contestation. Do we give them ticket? How, you know, because the opposition was determined to turn APC to minority in the two chambers of the National Assembly. And we had to do what we had to do to persuade the senators to stay. We are still the preferred party of choice. And we marketed those senators, we backed them up. with logistics, we back them up financially from the party's coffer. And at the end of the day, I'm proud that we won more Senate seats and we won more House of Rep seats. But even more outstanding, if you ask me, is that we also had majority in 2015, but the party didn't have the capacity to manage its majority creatively and make the best out of it. The result was that you had a Senate president that was of APC and a deputy Senate president from PDP, even when APC has clear-cut majority, because we could not manage our numbers. This year, or last year, you will bear witness to the fact that we did our homework, we carried out extensive consultation, extensive persuasion and negotiation with the members of the National Assembly, and the party zeroed on a Senate president, a deputy Senate president, a speaker, and a deputy speaker. I will mobilize and walk around so that even with secret ballot, these two senators, Senator Amelawe emerged, Senator Omoagegi emerged as deputy, and in the House of Rep, Senator Bajabi Amila emerged as speaker, and you heard the Wase emerging also as deputy speaker, all the preferred candidates. So, a party that couldn't manage its leadership before, this time we did that. And the other principal officers were subsequently elected. The letter from the NWC to the Senate and to the House of Rep was read on the floor of the Senate and House of Rep with respect to the other principal officers that are zoned to the ruling party. And we did that without any acrimony. So, thereafter, we've gone for a by-election in Kogi, and of course we won. And Kogi election is extremely significant because it is the first time since 1999 that a person by Nigerian manner of speaking can be said to be a minority, not coming from the major ethnic group in Kogi State. A minority person won the Kogi election. I think that's something that is worth celebrating. And then we went to the heart of the John Nation, and we won so convincingly the governorship election in Bayelsa State. And as you can see from newspapers, it is PDP that are probing themselves as to how did that happen. They are not saying we rigged them out, but they are saying that some PDP people did anti-party activities. They are accusing themselves as to why do they collaborate with APC to win that state. So how we can get opposition to work with us to deliver his APC in the heart of the John Nation, under our chairmanship, I like to think that that is something that is positive. So if the reward for this accomplishment is that 1 week later, so people say they don't want comrade, that is, I've been in NSC, as I'm protesting against government, some people are also sometimes protesting against me within the NSC. That is the way the world works. So it must be a strange world where you have everybody supporting you. The fact of your accomplishment, even you are a journalist, when you get a scoop or you write a story that is an award-winning story, why some people are commending you that this is a very, very seasoned, analytical, investigative journalist. So we say, am I not also a journalist? Why am I not also attracting this level of commendation? So in every aspect of life, you will have supporters, you have opponents. Even God, our creator, even those who admit to his awesome powers that he created heaven and earth, how would you see people lamenting that, how can God give me so little and give this man so much? Even as we are according not to jealous. So, yes, there are people who canvass those views, but there are also majority of people who think that APC has not done badly. In fact, we have done very well, if you ask me. And you must have also read, ironically, people say, my brother and friend, Mr. Secondus, PDP appear to have been losing every election. and that they want him out. I think there's somebody who wrote something in Kano and said, why APC gave financial support from our own resources to support our senators and House of Rep. PDP doesn't give kobo to any of their candidates. But we did. We did for the first time. We didn't do so in 2015. I can point to a lot of innovation that we have brought on board. But as they say, the reward for hard work is even more work. And those who are determined to criticize you, don't ever deceive yourself that if you do well, they will stop. But I think, for me, that is an incentive to recognize that we must continue to think creatively and, see to it that we are able to manage the party. I am very confident that our party is stronger today than it was before I became the chairman. And going forward in 2019, there are things we have ironed out. I don't need to share all of them with you here. In 2020, that we are going to do differently to ensure that we take into account all the experiences gained in 2019, so that 2020, our party will be stronger, more coherent, more peaceful. But don't make mistake, there will always be some eternal discontent, because you are talking of 774 local governments. And in each of these local governments, you are having activists, pacifists, the hawks, the doves, all within the same family. So they're about to happen. What matters is our capacity to talk to them and have them resolved.
Thank you.